إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded us throughout the Quran with many commandments, and He has commanded us with many actions. And from amongst those actions, rather from amongst the greatest of those actions, is to place our complete trust and our total reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal. And the scholars have defined as tawakkul and putting your complete trust and total reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal as truly depending on Allah and putting your complete trust and reliance upon Him in achieving and attaining everything which is beneficial in this worldly life and in the hereafter. And putting your trust in Him, your total trust, in averting from yourself and in warding off every harm and every evil that is possible to come your way in this world and in the hereafter. It is the concept of a tawakkul ala Allah Azza wa Jal. And the reality of tawakkul in Allah Azza wa Jal is to have total certainty in Allah. Total certainty that He is aware of your situation and that He has full knowledge of your situation, and He is the only one capable of changing your state from one state to another state. And He is the only one capable of bringing you out of calamities and rescuing you out of afflictions and hardships. And Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded His messengers throughout the times, and He has commanded the believers to put their trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. As Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ, and put your trust in Allah, the ever living, the one who will never die, the one who will never perish. Because we may depend and we may put our trust on a human being who may give way at a time of need, or who may die or who will die at a certain point. And then this person will abandon you in your moment of need to this individual. And He described, and He also commanded us, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ, and put your trust in Allah Azza wa Jal if you are truly believers. And He has put the condition of iman on the tawakkul, as He described the believers, and He said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم, that the believers are truly those who, when they are reminded of Allah, their hearts become trembled. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا, and when the ayat are recited upon them, their iman increases. وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ, and upon their Lord they put their trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. And the Quran is full of how the messengers and the righteous went through the calamities and the difficult situations, and how they overcame the hardships by putting their trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. Look at the story of Musa when he was on the edge of the sea and he was in front of the ocean, and the enemy was close on their heels behind him and his nation, and they were approaching, And all they could say to him was, Inna lamudrakun, that surely we will be caught, that we will be caught and we will be destroyed, and the enemy will overcome us. And in this moment, and in this difficult position, he put his total trust in Allah Azza wa Jal, and with a heart full of certainty and a heart full of trust, attached totally to Allah Azza wa Jal, he said, Kalla, never, Kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayhadeen, surely my Lord is with me, he will guide me. And in that moment, and within the blink of an eye, Allah split the ocean in front of him, and the raging waves were turned into a flat, dry land for him and his nation to escape from the enemy, and his enemies were destroyed. And look at the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was hurled into the fire to burn him, and then Jibreel alayhi salam came to him and asked him, and he said to him, do you have any need? And he said, as for you, then I have no need. But as for Allah Azza wa Jal, Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. He said, enough is Allah for me, and He is the best disposer of all affairs. And so Allah Azza wa Jal commanded the fire to become cool, as He said, Kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim, that become cold, become cool and become safe for Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Ibrahim was saved in this position. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when the enemies gathered against him, and they all conspired against him, and they gathered outside to try to destroy him and his companions and to remove Islam from the face of this earth, then the people said to the Prophet, Inna an-nasa qad jama'u lakum fakhshawhum, that the people have gathered against you, so fear them. Fazadahum imana, so that very statement increased them in the iman. وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل, and they said that enough is for us Allah, Allah is enough for us, and He is the best disposer of all affairs. فانقلبوا بنعمة من الله وفضل لم يمسسهم سوء, then they returned safely back to their homes, unscathed and unharmed. They were untouched by any harm, and they returned back with the blessings and the bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Quran is full of how the righteous people went through the calamities and the hardships, and this is why the Salaf rahimahumullah ta'ala described this reality of putting your trust in Allah with one statement. They said, أن ترد عليك موارد الفاقات فلا تسمو إلا إلى من إليه الكفايات, that in your life moments of dire desperation and moments of dire need come past in your life, and you don't lift your affairs except to the one who can suffice you in all your hardships and all your affairs. And it is only befitting for the believers, all of us believers, my brothers and sisters, that we place our trust in Allah Azza wa Jal from the moment we leave our homes till the moment we recline in our beds, following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As when he used to leave the house, he used to say, Bismillah, tawakkaltu ala Allah, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that I leave by mentioning the name of Allah and seeking the aid of Allah Azza wa Jal, and I put all my trust in Him, and there is no change of state from one state to another state, and there is no power except to Allah Azza wa Jal, until he would return back to his bed, and he would say, wa alayka tawakkalt, and he would command his companions that these words be the last words that leave their mouth, because in our wakefulness and in our sleep we are totally reliant on Allah Azza wa Jal. And so it is only befitting for us when we want to chase the endeavors that we have in this worldly life, or when to further our careers, or attain rizq, or achieve anything in this worldly life, that we put our trust in Allah Azza wa Jal, and we put our total reliance upon Him. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this great action of tawakkul is an action of the heart. As Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned, at-tawakkulu amalul qalb, that tawakkul is an action of the heart. And so to attain this action, which is pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jal, and draws us near to Him, and makes us more beloved and more dear to Allah Azza wa Jal, there are different steps in order to actualize the reality of this action in our hearts. From the first of them is to let it settle into our hearts that Allah Azza wa Jal has full knowledge, and to have certainty that He has the ability and the capability and the full capability that nothing happens except with His will, and that He is more merciful to us than our own mothers, and that He decrees everything. And so when this settles in your heart, and you know that everything has been written 50,000 years before the creation of the heavens and the earth, then your heart will become settled, and then you will be at ease when putting your trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. The second thing that I would advise myself and my brothers and sisters in Islam is to only turn to Him Azza wa Jal when faced with hardships, without having anyone else in your heart, by making Him the first one that you turn to, and lifting all your affairs to Him Azza wa Jal, and putting your trust and your total reliance on Him without anyone else in your heart. And finally, the last advice that I would advise myself and my brothers and sisters is to take the necessary means to attain whatever that you wish to attain, and not just to say, I have trust in Allah Azza wa Jal, and you don't take any action, because this is not the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he would be totally attached to Allah in his heart. However, he would exert himself in taking the means necessary to achieve whatever he wishes to achieve. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those who put their total reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal and their complete trust in Him. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا عملا صالحا رزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأقم الصلاة يرحمكم الله.